It's a super bloom. It's a super super bloom. It's a super bloom. It's a super super bloom. It's a super what? It's a super super bloom. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Super bloom is a rare phenomenon in the California desert when hundreds of thousands of colorful wildflowers pop up after more than a decade of dormancy. The magic of this vibrant blooming is mostly strong winds and lots of rain. Like those hardy seeds riding the wind and patiently awaiting the rain, once we reconnect with the elements that truly nurture us, we rekindle our resilience, our confidence, and our strength. I'm your host, Osha Rose, and in this pod, we explore all things related to the power of the mind and to this physical human existence. We can realize our full potential once we wake up the wisdom in our bones and activate our innate ability to thrive. Let's wake up with joy and be the Shakti in our lives.
Like how you just said that in the context of thinking about your daily list.
Yeah.
I love thinking about your list as questions, not like these 3 steps that we just came up with, not like read my affirmation, prep my food, but like 1, how do I want to put my affirmation inside of me, right? Dancing it in, singing it, writing it, painting it, whatever you want. How do I want to get my food prep in today? Because today might be different than yesterday or tomorrow. Because today's schedule's different. Today's energy's different. And then what you just said, how am I going to get my run in today? Be creative and have fun.
How am I going to get my run in today? Ooh, that's something that I haven't, until I'm saying it out loud to you.
I got that from you. You said it. And that
Very
like
important to me.
that's how I work. Like when you come on to the call with me, I am trained. I have so much training and so many resources. But the most important thing for me to remember every day, no matter how much I know about health, no matter how much I know about food and exercise and mindset and stress relief, in this space, I'm not the expert on your body or your life or your health. You are. And that's the most important thing for me. It's what guides the whole session every time.
And it can feel overwhelming. Like what you just said can feel a little overwhelming. It's like, I think that's why we sometimes I want to work with you, so you tell me what to do, but now you're telling me I'm going to tell me what to do. And so it's like, but how do I know? And, you go to the doctor and you want them to tell you what to do. And they don't know either. They're going to tell you based on their past experience with the results they've seen, based on what you're coming to them with. There's intuition involved too, but we are the experts of ourselves. And even if it feels overwhelming to think that I'm going to make all these decisions, that's what I'm doing. I'm always making decisions, whether it's to do exactly what you say or not. So just owning that and being supported by that information, I think is the shift. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Super Bloom podcast, where we explore how to wake up, rewire our thoughts, calm the nervous system, and truly thrive. Today, I am joined by Dawne Schoep, a board-certified health coach, self-care mentor, and personal trainer. And Dawne helps people feel better in their bodies, helps them release stress, and to create habits that stick. Dawne, welcome to Super Bloom. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yes, and so I love this quote we had talked about, where the work you do, essentially, it's helping, is it women? Do you mostly work with women?
Mostly women, yeah.
To understand this magic that can happen when we learn how to communicate with our bodies. Yes. And so I was thinking maybe we could just start with how you might start a session with one of your coaching clients.
Yeah.
That's something we could do together.
Yeah, absolutely. Usually someone comes to a coach, there's some sort of pain or problem or health condition that they're coming with. And so we just start with like, why are you here? And once they share that, I kind of invite them into a grounding session, because we if we come into a session and just speak from our mind, we might give really intellectual answers to what's happening in our body.
Mm,
And so if we do a grounding moment first, I help people come down into their center. People call it different things, their center, their wise self, their true self. And sometimes for clients, that's the first time doing that. Sometimes they've done it hundreds of times. But
mm,
I like to go into a session where people are responding and having this conversation with themselves. Basically, I'm facilitating the conversation, but I look at it as a conversation with their own self.
mm. Yes, communicating with their bodies. So could we just do it? Because
Love to.
I'm okay. Yeah. All right. Hello. I'm so happy
Hi,
to be here.
you're here. What brings you here?
So I do want to work with you because I have been going through some high blood pressure, and I think it's probably been a year, but over the past 2 weeks, I actually started measuring it and realizing how high it was or is. It's getting better with self-care practices, with making exercise and meditation and, just noticing what I'm eating. All these things are helping me reduce it. I've been measuring it. But today I'm here with you to learn what is actually working and what maybe isn't, and identify how, what I can be doing consistently, because sometimes consistency is something that is a little hard for me. I just have all my brain is always going and shooting in all these directions. Like, oh, that worked. Let me remember what that was that worked. And I don't know. So
Yeah.
understanding maybe because I haven't stopped to think about what I've been doing to work on this. And so yeah, so I'm here because I have high blood pressure.
That is a great reason to be here. It sounds like it's been really helpful for you to measure it and notice what's happening alongside of it being higher or lower.
Yeah.
I also heard you say that you think it's probably been happening for a year or a year and a half.
Yeah.
If you had to guess what tells you that,
Hmm.
I think that's the place we want to explore. Because it sounds like maybe your body was telling you something that makes you know that it was happening for a year or a year and a half, even without measuring it.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if you would like to do just a short grounding exercise to really get into your body and less in your head. We sort of live in our heads.
Yeah. I just started doing like numbers and
Yeah.
counting, and yeah,
Yeah.
let's get out of my head. I would love that.
All right. So I invite you to close your eyes, get comfortable in your seat, and just notice the places where your body touches the chair. Notice your feet on the ground and feel the air on your skin. Feel the breath coming out of your nose. And then imagine a circular white light sitting at the top of your head, right at your crown. I invite you to watch it as it slowly goes down right through the middle of you, all the way down the center of your body, down to your pelvis, down both legs, all the way to the floor. Notice that white light right at your feet. And then take a big breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And then watch as this light slowly makes its way back up your legs, all the way up through the center of your body, through your neck, your head, all the way back to your crown. And then take another deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. And then we'll watch one more time as this light makes its way from the top of your head slowly down through your body, down both of your legs, and stopping down at the floor and your feet. Take a deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. Pick your toes up off the floor, set them down, and then just pick one foot up completely off the floor, set it down, pick up the other foot off the floor, set it down. Tap the top of your thighs with both hands. Use both hands to tap your belly. Use both hands to tap your chest, top of your shoulders, and the top of your head. Take a deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth, and release your arms down to your side, and then just kind of shake your arms. And then in your own time, let your eyes flutter open and come back to the room. And then just feel your body.
Feels so much lighter.
Good, good. This is a
Oh,
nice way to get out of your thinking mind and into your body. So if we revisit that question,
mm,
if you were to think back or just ask your body even, why do you have a sense that this has been going on for a year and a half, even without the measurements?
yeah, I felt inflammation coming into my body since I stopped nursing my child back in November of 2023. I just noticed it at my feet, with like the boots I was wearing were causing like these red marks, and I thought it was my boots and bacteria, and it wasn't. And then I was letting my diet and exercise and just alcohol consumption, coffee consumption be uncontrolled, like just kind of letting it be whatever until I started to notice like that
Mhm.
spring. But the symptoms of inflammation really became prevalent around this time last year when the gums in my mouth swelled up. But I again thought it was something topographical in my teeth. So I started going to see the dentist, and because I hadn't gone in a while. But they said my gums, everything was fine. And then again, the holiday cycle came where I was eating lots of sugar and just didn't feel like there was time for my exercise. It just always felt like there was something to do.
Mhm.
And the weather, I don't know. I just remember feeling like I wasn't caring for myself. I did this course, and I was sitting in bed for hours just working on the course, but it was all in my head. Like it wasn't a physical lesson. Um, and so the swelling would come and go with how much sugar I ate. So I thought it was 100% related to my diet. But I didn't really think about it as inflammation until I started thinking about, what's really going on and noticing that turmeric and ginger and garlic and exercise and meditation were all affecting how much swelling was in my gums. Um, they still swell, but they don't, it feels, now that I'm aware of it as inflammation, or that's what I understand it to be intuitively, it doesn't feel the same. Like I used to not be able to bite my nail because my gums would be so swollen back here.
Yeah.
That was kind of like my gauge of like, is it improving or not? And now I can do that. So I kind of feel like it's a lot better now that I've become aware of it. exercising more. But when I started not sleeping as much again, again was working on another course, letting myself just stay awake till the sun came up and then take a nap and, think that that was a good idea at the time. Like this desire to push. Like I just feel like that's been like a common theme this past year, which I think kind of goes in alignment with the energy of inflammation. It's just this kind of like the body is begging me to slow down and cool down.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, oh, I just feel so grounded just sharing all of that. I feel more aware of what's been happening. So fast forward to this August where I decided to have my pulse read by an Ayurvedic practitioner. Started taking these herbs that I got prescribed, but I didn't follow her what she recommended exactly. And I intuitively just realized the other day this Triphala capsule that I was taking, I knew when I touched it, I'm like, this has been what's caused this kind of exacerbation of the end of the fire. Because they're in capsules. What she had said was get the powder and make a decoction and do that just for a week. And that was going to help with the inflammation, like on the surface. But I kept doing it. I was like, maybe this is the thing that, whatever. I just knew it didn't feel right, but I kept doing it. Unthinking, like I would just put the capsules in my mouth. But now that I've drank coffee that day, happened to be the same day I went to the doctor, happened to be the same day I got my blood pressure measured for the first time. I decided to just stop those herbs completely and focus on this food-based vitamin and minerals. And today, before this call, was the first time my blood pressure was down. It was like 120 over um, 99,
Mhm.
which I hadn't gone that low with the top number, the systolic number, and the diabolic one is still a little high, but I feel good about that. I sat for 5 minutes of meditation and then did the measurement, and it just reminded me how much I can help myself with more of the things I've been doing, like my diet and but I'm just kind of free. I'm going with what feels right and doing the best I can to have knowledge come back to me that's inside of me. But I just would love to hear what your thoughts are. Um,
Yeah.
Really, yeah.
I'm hearing that you are already listening to the communication in your body from the
Mm,
way that you have noticed over time, the transition from breastfeeding to not breastfeeding. You felt a difference. Your feet, you notice things in your feet, you notice things in your gums. So you've learned to listen to what your body's communicating to you through those things. And it's different for everybody. Some people, it's your body using your gums, your feet to talk to you and let you know what's going on inside. And you did already notice in going to the Ayurvedic practitioner, the gums are just a piece of it, right? It's the top
mhm.
pieces. It doesn't mean that this is the only place that there's inflammation.
Yeah.
Um, but you already have such a great start in listening to your body, even with the capsules, you listen to the energy that you felt being communicated from your body about those capsules, and you followed
Mhm.
your intuition. And
Yeah.
you are getting support in so many ways, your doctor, holistic health, um, your own
Feels good
practice.
to be encouraged. Yeah.
So
Like
you
this.
already have so many good things going for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I hear on top of that how hard it is to kind of manage that stuff on
Mm,
your own because it is a lot. Like you said, exercise, meditation, diet, all of it. Um, and you're a businesswoman, you're a mother. It's a
mm,
lot on a daily basis to be doing all those things, and then in taking courses and trying to do the right thing. Um, that's a lot. And sometimes we can take a course and we get so much knowledge, and then we'll go on that road and kind of forget to like pick the pieces from that really resonate with our body and listen to the communication we're getting our body from that.
yeah. And
and we
these
can.
were courses I was creating. So I was sitting in bed creating the course that first winter season, and then this past summer I was doing it again where but I was doing it in a different way. I was up and I was at my desk, but I was just working basically and
Thank
getting
you
out
for
of a rhythm.
redirecting me. Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
no, and it's
courses you were taking. Thank you for
yeah.
redirecting
Well,
me.
probably
Yes.
not everyone says they were creating courses, but yes,
No, yes.
creating, which I felt so good about and inspired to do. And
Mm,
I think that's the challenge for me right now is I'm inspired. Like I know where I'm going, I know what I want to create, I know what I want to do. But I just had a human design reading yesterday and it reminded me that so we have these energy centers, but in our root, mine's defined and there's just I feel this pressure, I guess, is what she helped me like put to words to create and to do these things. But what I'm finding with my health not in alignment with, it's like I want to do, but if my body doesn't feel good, it
mhm.
doesn't, I don't want to like, I don't have the same like light and spark. Like I have the list of things I know I want to do now because I've been get all these downloads, I get inspired and I make these lists, but
Mhm,
like what did she say to me? It was not every idea needs to be brought to fruition and not every question needs to be answered. And so for me, it was this like reminder that the inspiration can be one thing, but it's how do I feel in my body when I'm doing the next thing? Like
mhm,
this feels so aligned and so centered to be being guided into meditation by you and talking about what's going on in my body instead of pretending that I'm fine or nothing's going on. Um,
mhm,
but yeah, like getting like, what are the things that I've said I'm doing that sound like something that's part of what you do for work and how you help and please share everything you're thinking because even though I've gone to the personal trainer and I do group exercise and I have taught yoga and meditation for over a decade, it's like I'm constantly remembering, and people like you come on my path to remind me and maybe teach me something new.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I'm open
I
to
love your
whatever thoughts.
curiosity.
Yeah. What'd you say?
I said, I love your curiosity. That's how
Yes.
what
Oh,
makes us
oh.
keep growing and healing. Before I jump there, something that you just said about receiving downloads and being inspired. A
Mm,
question that you might ask yourself is, do I trust that if I get this download on paper, in computer, and then still honor my body's need to go to sleep, do I trust that that is going to continue to flow through me and that it doesn't all have to come out right now?
mm. No, this is the question, right? I trust in divine timing is what helps me. But what you're saying is actually going to help me in those literal moments where I'm holding on, like I'm gripping on to this, like, nope, I got to do this thing before I go to bed because, like you said, I won't forget. I'll forget and I won't remember. So the answer is yes. The answer is yes. I believe and I trust that as these downloads and creative ideas come through me, that once I put it down on paper, that it will come to fruition if and when, it is in divine timing. Yes. And then I just want to remember and celebrate, like in gratitude, like I am inspired. Like I had a huge
Mhm.
chunk of my life where I just felt like everything was already figured out. Like I was married and I could just see where we were going to end up living, what we were going to do with our lives. I couldn't see beyond what I was in that moment. And it felt depressing. Like I wasn't inspired. I was the opposite.
Yeah,
So I just want to celebrate that I am inspired. I do feel creative. There's joy in my life. I'm doing things that, are considered hard to a lot of people, but they're challenging. It's challenging to be a mom and doing it mostly on your own. And
yeah,
I mean, for me, it's all on my own, but I just think some people are in relationship, but they're the main caregiver.
yeah,
Um, but then still find time and see the importance of making time to create space to heal and to celebrate, and those two things are my new goals. So I feel like this is why we're talking.
How do you feel about, you just said like so many beautiful pearls of wisdom.
Mhm.
How would you feel about taking what you said? Yes, I trust in downloads, I trust in divine timing, and then all the other pieces about honoring what your body needs
Mm,
and just making that like an affirmation that you can come to in those times when you are drawn to that like push, do, grasping
mm,
onto it. You
mm.
notice that you can just read your own wisdom, say your own wisdom out loud.
Yes, I trust in divine timing. And I also feel like my health and celebration are my priorities. Oh, I just felt like a well of like emotion come through my chest when I wrote that.
That's amazing.
It's like emotion coming through me right now. I think the desire to keep going and move is, it's definitely rooted in self-worth and value and like the sense of identity. Like I'm not a corporate marketing person anymore. I used to introduce myself clearly. People would be like, "What do you do?" I do corporate marketing, I do corporate events. Ooh. And a lot of people haven't ever done that. So, ooh, and it just sounds so cool to people. But now it's like I wasn't loving that work. I wouldn't even feel any of the level of inspiration I feel now. But it's like somehow thinking I'm not doing as much or as valuable now that I don't say and can't say I'm part of this thing.
Mhm.
But to stop and celebrate that, you know, my daughter and I had so many belly laughs yesterday together, or my blood pressure is down because I chose to eat, like to prepare food a little bit earlier in the day so I could eat a really healthy dinner. Because I find that that's like what happens as I transition to the night and I'm like, all of a sudden it's nighttime and I'm like, okay, what's the easiest thing I can cook right now? And it's not usually an hour of roasting a butternut squash, you know? So like celebrate that, like the food prep and the connection where I was actually looking at my daughter and hugging her and being with her in that moment instead of, you know, my brain just being somewhere else, even though I was physically there. And
Yeah.
those are what matter. That is what matters the most is my health and celebration. And so yeah, thank you. Thank
It
you
sounds
for
like
this.
it's really important to you that you have created a career for yourself that can support your health and your
Mm,
motherhood and your time with your daughter and the things that are really important to you.
yeah.
And that's a celebration in
Yeah.
itself for you. And it's
Mm,
understandable to live in our society where, anything that has like a corporate title is very recognizable to people. So if you say two words, a lot of people have an idea of what you
yeah.
do and like, oh yay, that's awesome. When you're sometimes doing a very heart-led, very individual business that is about you expressing yourself
Mm,
and your connection with spirit and the divine, that's not as easily expressed when you introduce yourself or when you want to share what you do with people. And sometimes that when you don't get that recognition of like, oh yeah, I know what that is. That's awesome. It sounds like it might be affecting your feeling of the value.
yeah.
Um, Try that on and see.
Yeah. There is value in my work. There is value in my days.
And would you say that it's so I sort of repeated what you said about the value of it to you and your health and your daughter and your relationship with your daughter. Do you believe that there's value to anyone else or to the greater good?
Yes, I think there's value in all of us balancing our work with our, you know, our moving, our producing, our moving forwardness energy with sitting and being with what is and looking around and being present with all that we have, all that we're surrounded by, the like gratitude. When I think of celebration is a big part of that. Like when I can stop and be in gratitude, then I might start to be like, hey, and by the way, like I'm grateful for, yeah, for all you've created and what you filled your day with today, and learning how to value the work I'm doing, and the way I am a valuable part of the whole. Like I feel like that's a big part of um the value in just supporting myself, is like then I can truly show up in my day and be present and compassionate and connected to the people that I'm interacting with.
Mm.
And you have a ripple. There's a known ripple effect that your electromagnetic field around your heart will affect other people. So if I'm
Mhm.
showing up in gratitude and in like this confidence that the choices I'm making are wise ones, the way I'm carrying myself and my heart is full, people will feel that. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you also think that you sort of charting this maybe more difficult way of being in business with the world uh, benefits your community and the people you serve?
Yes. Yes. I think when we, or at least for me, I can feel that when I'm aligned in my day, when I'm making decisions that feel good in my body, that feel like a yes, I notice, and I'm smiling and I'm happy and I'm dancing and I'm singing, and it's just I notice the ripple. I feel more connected. Even if I don't feel like I'm like there's days where I wonder if I'm staying connected with the people like in my immediate circle enough, like texting and calling and just staying connected with friends and family. But in those moments where I'm not questioning it and I'm just kind of showing up, that I'll cross paths with the people in the grocery store or on the street, and I'll get the calls and the texts that I'll somehow magically have time to really give a thoughtful reply to, instead of them like stacking for later. But yeah, I
Yeah.
do. I feel like the connections are there. It just feels like the synchronicities occur. And I feel a deeper connection to the people around me. And I think that effect would be, what just comes back. Like it's just this beautiful kind of cycle we create where we give and get love.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what you were asking, but that's what I felt called to say.
It really is because the more we stay in that space, the more we can trust and the more we can just keep
Mm,
becoming and living as our true selves throughout the day. And that's like a nice space to be in when we kind of revisit what you were asking before about more of the practical pieces of like the blood pressure. Um,
mm. Yeah,
if
the
you,
why. This is the why. Yes.
yeah, it's kind of it's your why. That's the space you want to stay in and be in. And you have noticed when you are in that space, you even see it in the practical readings of your blood pressure.
Hmm.
So your question about working with me and how I would do that. So I have lots of resources, lots of things that I can introduce as we go, but I like you to lead your own healing, your own program, if you will. And I would start with keeping in mind how nuanced it can become if we're like exercise, food, and we're just thinking of it in that way.
Mm.
Like in those categories, what do you think is like the thing you need to do first, like the most important thing you need to do first?
Well, I think we just did that, was like create some daily affirmations. So as soon as I wake up, I'm reminding myself that I trust in the divine timing. Like I trust. And then it kind of will set me in motion in a way that isn't like I'm late or what time is it? Or, just trust that everything is going to come together today. So yeah, getting my mindset in an open to receive and just be like like instead of clenched and contracted, like in an open, flowy space. But then
Mhm.
I truly believe diet and finding ways to get creative in the fruits and vegetables that I'm eating. Those my body wants the most. I'm still finding the grains that don't feel so heavy in my body. Um,
Mhm.
like farro. Anyway, there's certain grains that I like, and I'm learning that it's okay that I don't like basmati rice, and my daughter does, because that's really quick to cook. Like, but that's the long grain, like brown rice that I like, so it's important that I prep that. Um, anyway, so yeah, I think the diet is the next piece, actually at the same point as exercise,
Mhm.
because what might sound counterintuitive when you think of like the blood pumping through your body, I actually do better with vigorous exercise. I
Mhm.
figured this out when I used to teach yoga classes and I would like in person, back to back, and I would do sometimes 3 to 5 hours of teaching. And I used to run marathons, and it would take me a while to run the marathon. So I could just run for 5 to 6 hours and 20 plus
Mhm.
miles. And not everybody's constitution requires that, but I know mine does. And so, and my daughter too. So I feel like getting my day to have more outdoor or at the Y where we go, like as part of the flow of the day. Um,
Mhm.
that's really important. But I love what you said, how not just having it be like diet exercise, because that is the way I think too. And it becomes a little more enjoyable when you just think of how do you want to spend your day?
Mhm.
Because you're right, I intuitively know, but it's sometimes the doubts that throw you astray. And
Mhm.
yeah, you just kind of get caught up in what you're not doing.
Yeah.
Um,
Or what we think you're supposed to be doing.
yeah. And if I shared what I shared with you about my blood pressure with certain people, I know because they care for me, they might get really concerned about what I said, and they might make recommendations for me immediately that don't feel in alignment. And in those moments, my body clenches up and feel like I almost need to defend my intuition.
Mhm.
Um, but the fact that I connected with a medical doctor finally does relieve that part of my brain, like that, like I want to make sure I'm still doing the right things. I have a child to care for. Like I don't but I think part of that thinking is still me fully embracing that I will always know what to do. Um, and if this doctor recommends something that I'm not intuitively aligned with, I'll just ask, what other options do I have? And that's new for me too. Is like I think that's why I was afraid to go to the doctor last year, is I just didn't feel strong enough to, speak and ask for what I know is going to be what I feel called to do next.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm so grateful that you're asking in this way. I'm just sharing how it feels and reflecting back to you how the way you work is unique and I appreciate it. So
Yeah.
yeah, to all that to say diet and exercise.
Mhm. I'm so glad that you said that about going to the doctor because it's actually a really important piece.
Mm,
If you weren't working with your doctor on it and like just being monitored by your doctor on it, I would encourage you to do so.
yeah, me too as a yoga teacher. It's helpful for it to have all the people involved.
Yeah. I also recognize how sometimes like our medical system is sort of built in a way where like this is what my doctor said and this is what I have to do, right?
Mm,
And that thing that you said about asking questions, being comfortable asking your doctor questions if you feel like something's not working is really hard for people because it's sort of this might be harsh, but it's sort of like an authoritarian system.
yeah.
This is what the doctor says is what you have to do. And we definitely need those recommendations and we need our labs and we need our doctor to be watching something. But we also have agency to make to do the lifestyle medicine.
Mm,
Doctors don't have time or sometimes even training to do that. But we also we are responsible for ourselves, right?
yeah.
And they might even sometimes be like, oh, food and exercise. Great. Now what? You know? So I heard in listening to you, I like people to leave a session with like 1 to 3 at the most sort of next steps.
Mm,
Really small, but it sounded to me like it's really important to you to have that kind of start your day with a mindset, maybe by reading your affirmation, not
Yeah.
information, reading your affirmation, writing it, saying it out loud, singing it, dancing it, whatever, like really helps it
Mm,
sink into you.
love that idea.
Uh, and then two being food and three being exercise. And I wonder, in listening to you talk about the food, it sounds like it's really helpful for you to kind of prep ahead of time.
Yeah.
You brought up a really real, like, challenge. Like, if you're eating different food for your than your daughter, that like,
Mm,
can be, it's almost like making two meals at the same time. And it's already a challenge to make one, but like thinking of ways that you can prep ahead of time. Um, do you have any ideas of what? I know one day you said you just did it earlier in the day so that later it was.
yeah, I think just making it part of my routine. Back when I was still working a corporate job at from home, I had a really good routine where I would, cook food for us around 2 or 3 p.m. Um, and that would kind of be that would carry us through the lunch and dinner. Um,
Mhm,
and so yeah, I did that the other day and it felt really good. I was like, okay, this is the time of day that I'm ready to do this.
mhm,
Like the morning tends to be like more computer stuff, but I like to start my day without the computer. But yeah, fitting it in before we leave the house, I think is the key. And I tend to leave the house around like between 3 and 5 to get us out for sunset and maybe to the Y and like just to make sure we get like a good outdoor experience and some exercise. So that's something I feel like I can kind of stack with that. Like before
mhm.
I go, what time am I leaving the house? And then I can kind of plan what time to cook from there.
Yeah.
I love this because it's in me already. I love this coaching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that would be your second one.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
figure out that schedule, like where do I prep? Where does it fit in? How does it feel good? And that is your first step on nutrition. And I like to do little tiny steps each.
Mm,
I usually would meet with you like either once a week if you want that in the beginning, or every other week, like every 2 weeks, where you
mm,
have time to kind of try out these first steps. And I want you to make sure you don't get ahead of yourself. Like really try these first steps. Affirmation in the morning, prepping food, and just paying attention to how what feels good about it. If there are any challenges, if you forget, just your job isn't to create perfection in the next week or two. It's to notice how these literally first baby steps
yeah.
are working and how they're not, so that we
Mm,
can come back together and just kind of like tweak them if they need.
yeah.
And and then we figure out if you're ready for the next tiny step or if you just need to like tweak this one first. Um, because we get really ahead of ourselves sometimes.
So you are so supportive, and this is just so wonderful to experience this. Like I can say for people listening, like the way I feel right now is empowered. I feel confident, like I got this. Like I don't know, this approach that you have is wonderful because I think we all have within us this information that when it's encouraged, when it's supported to come through, it's there. And then at some point after working with you, I can feel empowered to continue this. There isn't this dependency. It's like you're bolstering me along the way. You're supporting me. It's not this I don't know. I feel like there can be some relationships or exchanges where the person leading or guiding or coaching um might not be this supportive. So it's important to be supported and know that we can anyway, I'm going on a tangent, but what I
Okay,
wanted to yeah,
yeah.
but what I wanted to ask too was this piece about personal trainer. I feel like that's unique. I don't know that every nutritionist or nutritional person you might work with that can help with the diet. And then also these like the combination of what you offer is very unique to me.
Mhm.
Um, do you find that you can do the personal trainer work virtually, or is that something that you mostly do in person?
I
Okay.
mostly do it virtually. Yeah,
Oh,
I mostly do
wonderful.
it virtually. Uh, That brings you to number three. So
Okay, okay.
your third step would be like, what is your first? And then I'll like kind of explain to you how I would work with you in exercise. But what would be your very first step as far as exercise?
I want to get out running again. Um, I love running outside. My daughter's not quite there yet. She's almost 5, but to run, actually, that's not true. We run on the beach together and it actually feels really good. And it ends up being sprinting, which I have found is the best way for me to get that vigorous exercise. So
It was really
create,
fun to watch that aha moment for
yes,
you.
creating like, because I just picture myself on the stroller with her thinking that's always tricky to time that. And she doesn't love being stationary, but then she does when she's in it. So that could be like a once a week long run where I get to kind of
Mhm.
be in motion consistently for an hour. But the aha moment was me picturing what we do a lot of the time on the beach, where we create a start and a finish line and we just race back and forth.
Love it.
Um, or I chase her. She loves being chased in all different games, like, and I get to
I
be
can
different
see the
characters.
joy in your face
Yes,
telling me. And I
yes.
can imagine the joy in hers. Like that makes my heart sing to think of you on the beach running with your daughter.
Yeah.
And you were so creative in that, like there are some limitations to maybe the way that you've always run before you were a mom,
Hmm.
or the way that you think of like what it would mean to run, and you just like instantly got creative and was like, well, wait a second. So I could do the long run once a week in the stroller, and that's probably not too much for her to do that once a week. And oh my gosh, we both love running on the beach, and how wonderful.
And it feels good to even celebrate that I kind of do this already, but it's the
Yeah.
consistency. And I think for me, it's just putting it on that list every day. Like, um, I have, the to-do things for my business and I support some other businesses. So what I want to get done for them or people that I'm working with, like there's
Mhm.
the work lists, but then the food prep, run
Yeah.
on the beach, like just make those, like look at the weather, see my energy level, like what is it that I want to do today, to get exercise, to move
I
my
like how you
body.
just said that in the context of thinking about your daily list.
Yeah.
I love thinking about your list as questions, not like
Mm.
these three steps that we just came up with, not like read my affirmation, prep my food,
I
go
love
for
your
a run.
tone because that's how it feels to me. It's like, I don't
People
want
like
to do
to
the
get
same thing
there.
every day.
But like, one, how do I want to put my affirmation inside of me? Right?
Mm.
Anything like dancing it in, singing
Yeah.
it, writing it, painting it, whatever you want.
Mm.
How do I want to get my food prep in today? Because today might be different than yesterday or tomorrow.
Hmm.
Because today's schedule's different, today's energy's different.
I might be prepping for tomorrow tonight. Yeah. Where I might
Yeah,
be doing something
exactly.
while I'm prepping for tomorrow. Yeah.
And then what you just said, how am I going to get my run in today?
Hmm.
Be creative and have fun.
How am I going to get my run in today? Ooh, that's something that I haven't until I'm saying it out loud to you. Um,
I got that from you. You said it, and that like
Very
inspired
important to
me to
me.
say that. That's how I work. Like when you come on to the call with me, I am trained. I have so much training and so many resources. But the most important thing for me to remember every day, no matter how much I know about health, no matter how much I know about food and exercise and mindset and stress relief, in this space,
Mm.
I'm not the expert on your body or your life or your health. You are.
Mm.
And that's the most important thing for me. It's what guides the whole session every
And it
time.
can feel overwhelming. Like what you just said can feel a little overwhelming. It's like, I think that's why we sometimes want, like, I want to work with you, so you tell me what to do, but now you're telling
Mhm.
me I'm going to tell me what to do. And so it's like,
Yep.
but how do I know? And, you go to the doctor and you want them to tell you what to do. And they don't know either. They're going to tell you based on their past experience with the results they've seen, based on what you're coming to them with.
Yeah.
There's intuition involved too, but we are the experts of ourselves. And even if it feels overwhelming to think that I'm going to make all these decisions, that's what I'm doing. I'm always making decisions, whether it's to do exactly what you say or not. So just owning that and being supported by that information, I think is the shift, is this like
Yeah.
Trust that in the moment, I'll know what to do. I don't have to make big decisions. My blood pressure is going down. There isn't a need to freak out that I still feel these symptoms. Just continue to notice, continue to care for yourself. Yeah, these are all very important. So in our time today, I want to make sure I just because I can feel, unless there's more you want to say, I don't want to transition.
Just on that note, so today you told me already, just in listening to you, you had your first steps. I just kind of helped you organize it and put it into one, two, three. And that's
Yeah.
a big part. Like that could happen every time. And like you said, the piece of overwhelm when you have a coach, the biggest job is to like take all this stuff and put it
Mhm.
in actionable steps.
Yeah.
There might also be days when you come to a session and you're like, I don't know. And that's where, when I said, like, I have a lot of training, I have a lot of resources, then I can provide you with suggestions. But that's what they'll be. They'll be suggestions.
Mhm.
And I might give you three. And the way that I introduce that is like, pretend like you're in a department store. Here are three options. You
Mm.
can look at them. You already know which ones you want to take with you to the dressing room. You know which ones you want to try on. Maybe you don't know, but through chatting, we can figure out which one you want to try on first. And that's the way that I look at like the recommendations that I make.
Mm.
So
That's
you don't,
huge.
there are days when you might not have the answers and you're not going to be pressured to have the answers, but I will give you options to just gently try on.
Mm. And then after we work together each week, is there a check-in? Is there anything that we do throughout the week in between sessions?
Yeah. So usually what I have found when if we do weekly calls, a week is usually a pretty good amount of time where there's people don't tend to need a check-in. But I give clients an option when there's a 2 week period to do a check-in right in the middle because what most people have found is they're on it. They're conscious of it. They're working on it for the first week, and then they get to the call 2 weeks later, and they're like, "It's weird. I was doing a really good job, but somewhere in the middle, I just left my mind and I completely forgot it until I got here." So there's a choice of either doing an email check-in where I just send you a couple questions and you respond, or like a 15-minute phone call check-in, whatever
Mm.
feels best.
Beautiful. So I feel so grateful for this exchange right now. I'm feeling supported and confident, and I have three things, just to kind of start my day asking
Yeah.
myself, how do I want to bring these into my day? I know these are parts of my day that are vital to my thriving and flourishing and just being in joy. But what just happened, I can feel that this is work that is like a deep, like soul work for you. Like I feel connected to you in a way that maybe I didn't feel with my nurse practitioner, where I can tell intuitively, I can feel it. What I'm getting at is I'm curious how you came into this work and if you can share any story about maybe there was an aha moment you had where you just knew this other work you were doing, or maybe it was like when my child was born, I felt this shift in my energy to create. Is there a story you can share about how you found this path to this work? And do you feel like it's your soul's calling?
Absolutely, my soul's calling. It's 11:11 as you asked me that question. Um, it's definitely my soul's calling. It is my purpose. I I kind of always wanted to help people. Like it's just in my nature to help people be more comfortable physically, emotionally, joyfully in their body. And
Mm,
I started just by being that person to the people around me. But I started as a personal trainer mainly because I had a lot of physical chronic pain. I didn't know at the time that it was from stress, but I just had like all this like physical pain. So I had been like a distance runner as a kid all through my 20s. And in my early 30s, I became a personal trainer. And that's the first place where I really started saying I need to listen to what my body's asking for. And it was
mm,
in response to my pain. So which exercise, which stretch, which self-massage, what is my body asking for? And that's how I worked as a personal trainer. Like I worked with a lot of people with chronic pain. I was working with chiropractors and I got so much more joy working with people when I spoke to them in that way and approached it in that way, just then like, okay, where's the pain? Here's what we're going to do, and giving them here's what you need to do. Bye.
Mm,
It just was, it felt so right to like lead people in that way. Like, what is your body telling you? What is your body asking for? What is your body saying now that you responded?
mm,
Um, and then I did at some point recognize how much it was about stress and
mhm,
really started working on stress in my own life and then brought that into my personal training. And somewhere along there, I changed like my diet and everything. So then I became a health coach and really learned more of like the mindset and connection, like how important that is, and each person's agency, how important that is. So in everything that I do, um, exercise, food, just like practical time management stuff, everything that you do as a coach, I approach it from that angle.
mm.
What is your body asking for? And then that sort of creates the plan, so now you responded to your body with this action or this thought. How does that feel? How is your body responding to your response? And then
Mm.
that's like the way that you move along in your health journey, but like really listening to your own body.
So how did you discover it was stress? Did you notice that there was a feeling? Yeah.
I was in a wellness group with like some other practitioners, and the naturopathic doctor in our group, I learned so much from her, asked me once, like, what do you do? I don't even remember what the context, but what do you do to relax? And I had I had no answer. And she's like, what does your body feel like when you're relaxed? And I was like, I don't know. As soon as I was moving so fast.
Mm,
I don't know. As soon as I like stop moving, I just fall asleep.
I
And I
can
had no
totally
idea.
relate to
That
this.
began my journey of stress and how it was sort of
Mhm.
leading my life. It was like this speeding train, and I was just holding on for dear life. I
Mm,
started noticing that a lot in clients too in the personal training realm, because I would have some people that would like follow like a really healthy diet. They would show up for all their sessions, they would exercise outside their sessions, and nothing would change for them. Pain wouldn't change, weight wouldn't change, the way that they felt about themselves wouldn't change. And I
mm,
knew that that was stress, but I didn't quite understand it. And that sort of,
mm-hmm.
that was probably around 12 years ago. And that's been, I think that's usually a place that I start people with if stress is really leading their lives.
Yeah. Yep. And I think stress for me comes from, it's like rooted in this doubt, right? Everything we're talking about, like connecting in with and trusting that my body is communicating with me, that my heart knows what is best for me. Like getting to that place, I think is what helps me feel less stress. Like there's more confidence in my decisions. There's more direction in my energy. Like I just there I I think stress can come from too when we're telling ourselves that we need to be doing a certain thing or this person, there's expectations that we are not living up to. And
I mean, imagine,
you
yeah.
find that, yeah,
Yeah, it's kind of the basis of everything that we're talking about. Thank you for saying that. It is, there's a lot of shoulds. I mean, people come to me all the time. What's the best exercise to do for this?
yeah,
I don't,
yeah.
I don't
I was
know,
going to
because
ask you that.
it's different for everyone, right? Like it's really different. Everybody's body has a different story. So it's different for everyone. What's the best food to eat? What's the best diet to follow? I don't know. But in tuning in with your body, we can figure that out together.
Mhm.
And I'm glad you talked about that. Like, I'm not doing these things and tuning into that intuition. So when we ask our body, what's the next step? What do you need? We do feel more
Mhm.
energized and more inspired to do those things because like our body is open, like, yes, give me that, give me that. This is the way I describe it.
Mhm. Yes.
But if we have this list or these expectations or okay, I have high blood pressure, these are the things that I'm supposed to do, it 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 makes us shrink a little bit. Just it I don't know, it's
Yeah, it's like, how am I going to fit
hard.
that in? What is
It's
the
a
DASH
supposed to.
diet? What is the,
Am
what
I
is,
doing it right? Am I doing it
yeah,
well enough? It becomes this like
will this even help me?
this external thing.
Yeah.
Honestly, we could even take, if you had a list from your doctor, we could even take that and turn it into something that's coming from inside of you.
Mm,
So it's not that we ignore that. It's not that some of those things are bad, but we need to approach the steps that we need to take from the inside of us and not externally.
mm. And that's when we're leading this I call it intuitive or soul led, but there's this wiser
Yes.
self that
Yes.
will know this feels right. Like a DASH diet feels right, like the Mediterranean. And that was, I got a breadcrumb when I went to the dentist because the oral surgeon that checked everything was Greek and he had an accent.
Mhm.
And I said, oh, he said, oh yeah, I'm going to Greece. I said, how often do you go back? And he said he was going. And I just thought to ask about food. And I
Yeah.
remember asking, he's like, well, our diets are very, and he just explained to me, I think everything that I love to eat, just lots of fruits and vegetables and, the olive oils and the seafood and I was like, this is what I love. And it just kind of like the breadcrumb was there.
Yes.
But I felt something, it's like you feel something when someone says something that intuitively is in alignment. But I think the trick, and this might be something where the physical part comes in, is associating. Sometimes it can feel constriction. You can feel constriction when you get a list of things to do and integrate
Yeah.
that don't necessarily, you can't see how you can do all this. So I
So
feel like,
overwhelming.
yeah, that to me is the heart of the work you're doing, is helping people navigate what is being presented to them in their lives so that they can embody and create new practices, new lifestyles, just shift things in their life so that it feels better in their body.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely.
Wow. Oh,
Yeah.
so do you love your job? Like, do you love this work?
I love it. Speaking of just feeling energized and like
Yeah.
pulling into your heart, when I meet with someone, eh, that's how I feel. I get excited to do my work every day because I feel like the most important thing that I do is help people connect to themselves.
Mm,
I can't think of anything better to do,
beautiful.
especially because I know how many, speaking of external things, how many things out in our world are disconnecting us from ourselves.
Mm. So many things in our external world are disconnecting us from ourselves. Like, I just want to be with what you just said because I feel that kind of wrapping it up. But, today was a hands-on episode where I was able to work directly with Dawne Schoep today as a self-care coach. And what's important to remember is what you just said. There's our days are full. There's energy, our energy is being kind of pulled and could be pulled in so many different directions if we let it. But if we can set the intention each day of where we want our energy to go, to this affirmation, to this food, to this exercise, to this connection to my child, it will happen. I see it happen day after day on the days when I, want more for myself, and health is the most important part of that creation of my day. Because I feel like when I make my list and I think about how I want the day to flow, I'm creating it. Um,
Mhm.
we can do that with, some coaching and with some loving guidance. Like your approach is so loving, and I love that there's the piece about the body though, because I too, being so physical, I see the shift in my energy. Even when I just shake my body or do a few yoga poses or go for a nice like 10-minute walk, like I'm a different person than I was 10 minutes before.
Yeah.
And sitting on a cushion to meditate is still a challenge for me. I can consistently do 5 minutes. Like that is something and so I have to just love and respect that that's something I'll continuously, be building.
Yes.
But to celebrate that, that I got on my cushion today for 5 minutes, that I did it last
Mhm.
night with my daughter, and just celebrating what is, but that intention of being in the body, moving the energy, knowing that the seeded stuff can be, something I'm working towards, but celebrate what comes easily and feel that shift. But my point was the fact that you can offer, like we could meet again and I could share with you that I feel stress and tension in my neck and shoulders or my low back, and that it comes and goes with what I think is the inflammation. Um, you know, then there's this awareness of, okay, what do you want to do to exercise and what do you want to do to actually, calm the body?
Yes.
Um,
Yes. That's huge. And that would be like your step by step. So you would notice what it feels like. Your first step was to get your run in. How do I get my run in? And then we just keep like, how does that feel? How does that feel? And the next thing presents itself. And I'm glad you mentioned getting on the mat um, to sit still and meditate.
mhm.
One of the things that I had to go through this myself. But one of the things that's so important is part of your body is your nervous system. And that's why we're meditating. It's why we're doing yoga poses. But if you can, even in that moment, ask your body what it needs. Have had, it's easier now, but have had a terrible time. Like sometimes just trying to sit still and breathe slowly would actually trigger my nervous system more. And then I got to understand, well, I didn't even look at the state that my nervous system was in. So if
Mm,
my nervous system is in panic mode or just in like fight or flight, and try to I take it from that to immediately, okay, now I'm slow and still and my nervous system doesn't think that's safe. And so
yeah.
it's going to go even more. And so I've learned to maybe do like shaking, like you said, first before I sit down. So if I sit down to do meditation, I'm like, oh, that's not working. Rather than shaming myself or being like, I'm just not good at it, I learned to get up and go for a walk or do some shaking or some VU breaths, which we can get to. Like, there's a whole bunch of different things you can do to expel that big like fight or
Mm,
flight energy to bring your nervous system to a place where it is safe to slow down even more.
that's such an important piece. What is the importance of understanding our nervous system in the work that you do with your clients?
It is, it's, it's everything. I'll say everything. So, but in the beginning of our session, we got out of our mind and into our body because
Mm,
our mind is kind of in charge all the time until we look at our nervous system. Like our nervous system is like if we are calm, if we are triggered, if we are just kind of in a chronic elevated state of nervous system, that's actually the first thing at the driver's seat. We can't even think if we're
mm,
triggered. And I think one of the biggest learnings for me was how ind our nervous system reacts independently. It doesn't check in with our brain first, check in with our body first. It gets a signal and it gets us into like keep yourself safe at all costs mode. So you can't talk yourself into calming down. Thankfully, our body does work with the nervous system and we can like walking, running. For me,
yeah.
taking a really hot bath with Epsom salts helps me work some of that energy out too. And that's a still way
Mm,
to do it. But um,
beautiful.
our nervous system is really important to understand.
And I'm laughing because, and I wrote this in the book, Yoga for Relaxation, and there's I think the first and second ever Super Bloom episodes talk about this too. Those triggers, those activators you were saying, and I was laughing because it doesn't even communicate with the mind. It's like we go on this autopilot when our systems detect danger and we go into this sympathetic side of the nervous system, which sounds like it's a good thing, but it's not a bad thing, but it's on, it's alert. It's
Mhm.
shutting down all the other systems so that we can run. And in that episode I talk about like when my daughter was young and she would like a year old trying to explore everything and not really being able to walk. Like I could like literally like a gazelle, like leap like bounds that I didn't know I had in me to save her from hurting herself
Yeah.
or falling. And this
Yeah.
like it takes over. So that's when I was laughing, just thinking of like these moments that I'm like, how did I do that? Am I superhuman? Like how did that just happen? But it's
Yeah.
because our bodies accommodated that nervous system's alert that I need you to
Yep.
be able to jump and run. So you're going to breathe, you're going
Yeah.
to pant.
Yeah. I'm
So
so glad you said that.
yeah, working with that though, right?
Yeah,
Understanding.
like understanding it and even honoring it. I think a lot of times we get
Yeah.
this like stress is bad. You need to like avoid it. And that's kind of leads us down a different path. But it's actually in understanding our nervous system, the way that our brain works, the way that our body works, and the way that like they all exist in this being together,
Mhm.
and honoring the part and the role that they play in our safety and in our well-being. And then also learning how to shift, like how to give ourselves the tools to have the possibility and the choice to come out of our nervous system if it's not what would serve us best right now, or to come out of our head if it's not what's serving us best right now,
Mhm.
or even to come into our head or into.
Yeah, it's like after that happens, or I share this in Head to the Heart, the course Head to the Heart, where my daughter is really good at expressing her emotions, but if she gets angry, and I can literally see it bubble up, like she could flail. If I'm too close to her, I
Mhm.
might get struck in the face,
Yeah.
because it's moving through her. But then
Yeah.
once it's over, like a minute later, I'm over here, like my nervous system's like, okay, am I under attack? No, this is your child. Like I'm just trying to combat this like desire to protect myself with like the rationality of what's happening. So I'm like breathing and maybe like shaking my body, and she'll just look at me and be like, "Mom, you okay? What's the matter?" Like I'm like and then I
Yeah.
do my best to, help her understand while I'm still breathing through it. And it's interesting to watch it, like to have this awareness of what's happening, but then also her reflection of what I look like, because I'm like I'm just trying to
Yeah.
like get out of fight or flight because there is no longer danger. It's gone. How do I
Yeah.
cue that to the body?
Yeah.
Because I do think there's a cycle that we get stuck in, and then that can cause like our adrenal glands being maxed out. And like I was saying, I drink coffee, but I used to, for the first time in a while, but I used to drink coffee every day. And I didn't notice until I stopped drinking it how high alert, like how much energy it was bringing into my body. Um, but when I'm really tired or I feel like I need the energy, like that can be like the thing I still think of. Like maybe I should just have a quick shot of espresso. But
Yeah.
oh, I don't drink coffee anymore. And I don't like that it kind of gives me a panic attack now. What else can I do? So it's
Yeah.
like getting creative in the moments where the nervous system is turned on, and realizing kind of like with the coffee or something else, like what would help me right now? Is this the healthiest, And so I feel like that's a big part of what you must do with coaching too.
Mhm. And it's different for everybody. Like in finding your own way, like, okay, I'm up here. How do I bring
Mm.
myself down? Because there's again like so many resources, so many ways to do it. It's literally in finding the way that works for you. One, learning to recognize maybe when you're there, and then your resource to take you out or to energize yourself when
Yeah.
you're dragging.
This has been an enlightening episode for me and session with you. I think for me the biggest takeaway is the importance of valuing how unique we each are and how intrinsically we are guided once we allow ourselves, once we can calm the nervous system, create the space to really start asking and communicating with our bodies. That to me is like the biggest takeaway. And I just love this instinct my brain has for the answer that would be the blanket. Like I still want to ask you blanket questions like what's the best, this for that, and it's every body is different. Like every human is different. We are unique. And so that to me is this beautiful reminder that why? Like, why do we want to spend time connecting in with ourselves? Why do we want to ask ourselves questions in the morning? Why do we want to remind ourselves that we got this, that we're like, and why is empowerment important? And it's so that we can connect in with that inner guidance system, and we can work with people like yourself in a way that there isn't a quick answer, but there is, you know? Like you aren't going to give me the answer, but it's already in me. So how quick or slow it happens, it just depends on, maybe how willing I am to listen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or be allowing like yourself, like when we can find the ways to allow ourselves.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah. And value ourselves enough to listen, to hear that voice within me that I'm going to start my day like, how am I going to run? And everybody, I think, will react differently too. But for me, there's like this feeling, like a wave. I felt that emotion when we were talking about what my affirmation could be. And it's like, I trust in divine timing. Oh, yes, this has just been such a nourishing conversation for me. And I just know in my heart that this is going to carry a ripple for people um, who want to work with you or just want to take that first step to just start listening, to start asking. I think you gave some really good ways to just tune it in. People can follow along with this grounding exercise we did in the beginning for themselves. Um, but if people do want to connect and work with you, so you are located in,
In North Carolina, I'm Durham in
yes,
from North Carolina. If anyone's around here, I can do
yes,
live sessions, but like I said, I do mostly work virtually with exercise, with food, with coaching sessions.
wonderful.
So I have a website you can reach out to me on. I can also
Yep, I'll put the link in
phone
the.
number and my email that's a little bit more personal.
Yep, we'll share the website and then people can come on to your website and see a little bit more about what you do and they can sign up to connect with you. I see you do a free discovery call, so that could be just a wonderful place to start.
Yeah, and I do work with individuals and then I run some group programs sometimes too. And working with a group is healing in its own way.
I would love that. Yes. So I would like to find more about that. And is there anything just kind of in closing that you think could be really important to highlight or share again with the audience today?
Yeah, I have two things in mind. One was I'm so glad that you said my big takeaway from today was, and then you started talking
Mm,
because that's how we end every session of everything. Did you have any aha moments today? And a lot of times it's when you hear something that you said yourself. But did you have any aha moments today or takeaway? What's the biggest one from today? That's how I like to close out a session because that's really powerful. And then
mm,
you also mentioned feeling a big emotion well up in thinking about doing your affirmation in the morning. And you talked about that in the way we connect in and value ourselves. And one of the big things that it ends up being the most important, and in working with a coach or working with someone, is noticing all the ways that external things, expectations, other people cause us to abandon ourselves, even when we
mm,
have this really good plan in place. Um, And in coaching, you learn to keep reconnecting. And as you do that, you start feeling the way that you value yourself starts to grow and grow
mm,
and grow. And the instances where you abandon yourself come into light and you start to do that less.
mhm,
And that's magic. That's from connecting with yourself and learning to do that in a daily and moment by moment way.
mm. It's beautiful. Thank you so much for being here, Dawn. And thank you to everyone. No, it's okay. I'm just doing a little wrap up. So thank you to you and thank you to everyone here listening. And if you loved this episode, share it with a friend who you think could use that reminder to listen to what's within. And don't forget to subscribe so you never forget another thing with Super Bloom. And I'm just so happy to have shared this time with you today, Dawne Schoep. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
Yay. Bye. We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Super Bloom podcast. For more information on how to open up your mind and expand your heart and ways to work with Osha Rose,
Visit osharose.com. There is music videos, community connection, fun ways to learn about the body, the mind, and how they connect. Visit osharose.com.
It's super, super blue. It's super, super blue. It's super what? It's super, super blue.